All right. Here we go with day 5 recap. We're officially very close to the target here with $486 left to the profit target. We have made a great amount of progress on this account, regardless of the setbacks, but we're at $54,416.18. Our best day was 24.51.16, and that set us to an extension of the profit target of 1902.32. Our average winning day is 13.58.53. Our average losing day, one of the only losing days, as a matter of fact, the only losing day, 10.17.94. We have gone through trials and tribulations trying to get ourselves in the right spot for this account. But I'm going to go over a few stats right now, and we will get right into it after these stats. So as you can see here, this was day 2 where we hit our daily loss limit, and then we had a rebound. Day 3, one trade, went 24.51 up, 51.446.04. From there, we had another whopper day where we actually went above the $53,000 profit target at 53.348.12. We still had plenty of room to go at this point as we extended our gains that we required to pass the account. So we are still trucking along. We had another great day on Friday where we are now at 54.416.18 with a stop loss or a daily loss limit at 52.348.12. So we are just above on that by a few dollars, maybe less than $100 in difference, but we are there. We are working our way. We were at $486 to passing this account. We're going to take day 6 carefully. There shouldn't be more than 20 trades. I think we can probably pull it off in less than 10 if we're right, maybe even less than 5. Don't quote me on that, but when the time comes, we will make a count and we will see what we do. But day 6 was really great. We had a total number of contracts at 166, only 32 trades. Some we gave back some profits on, some we really made some progress with. Overall average winning trade was better than the actually, it might have been about the same. Look at that. Just a few cents shy. About 19 cents shy, if I did that math right. I don't think I did. Either way. But our average winning trade was almost identical to the prior day. It was $197.31 to the 56 cents prior. I can't think of a better way to end the week than to continue making progress on this account. The average losing trade, however, was a little bit larger, but smaller than the day prior to the prior day, if that makes sense to you. 130.55 to 223.03. The reason it was only 12.26 the prior day was because we really just didn't have that many losing days, and that's how we want it to be. That was great. So I will take that. 197 on 31 on the amount of gains that we've already made on this day is pretty stellar. So we will take that and we will run. Average losing trade, 130.55. Not terrible, not the greatest, but we were right at 50% win-loss on the day. Had to do with wins and losses and the amounts of each. Somehow made it to 50% even. We will take that. Average consecutive wins and losses was 4 and 3. That's okay. And of course, average wins and loss duration was 2 minutes and 19 seconds to 30, almost 30 seconds. 27 seconds. That is a great average. So now we're just going to get right into the clips and recap all these trades that we got throughout the Friday. It was rather choppy. We got some moves here and there, but more or less, since it was monthly options expiration, there wasn't much of an active move. It was more of a bunch of range rotations. So let's get into it. Here are the first few trades of it, and we will go from there. So with this account, now we're trading the features open here, and we're in a short. I'm just letting it run. I do throw a stop in pretty quickly, and as soon as we're getting to a point where I think we might bounce, I put that stop in there pretty tight, and we get hit, and we get out. So moving on to the next trade, taking a long here, and I believe we actually give some back on this trade, which is okay. It's just a matter of taking it slow and figuring out exactly what trade is worth taking. You're going to see throughout the rest of these video clips how many trades I actually take versus the ones that were really worth taking. So here we're moving up, and I think I'd throw my stop in here pretty soon. It's just kind of a slow one. It's Globex. It's going to be slow. Price is very slow during Globex. You just kind of have to let it ride. It looks like I actually take the profits on this one though. So hopping over to the next record, I failed to record a few of those videos right off the bat, but here are some trades where I am just giving up some of the gains, followed by a short here that ended up being messy at best. We cut that one for a loss, down to 183. Starting to look at the 5K tick here, seeing how we broke out of structure and are now retesting back upwards, especially on TradingView here, where I'm drawing some demand zones, trying to get a grip on the actual areas where we could see some reactions below, since the market is moving a little bit lower today. From here, I do start to see more of the bigger picture, and we're just trying to time the bottom after it tests this level a number of times. I'm just getting in early and stopping out early, so it's not helping the P&L right now. We're looking at the 1250 tick and a little bit of book map here, trying to see those levels and what's happening on the order book. Looks like we're actually getting closer to that reaction range in the demand zones that I drew. Here we just have a nice trend that we're working with, but I do draw those demand zones in place, and I want to put a buy order in at the bottom if we can tag it. But as I see on the 250 tick, I take a short here because I see the pattern that it's making as it hits that EMA. It's a successful trade, and it puts me back up on the P&L to where I was to start the day. Moving along here, we actually see it break out of this structure, and we start to get an uptrend where I do want to try and see a reaction to this EMA right here. So it's dancing around it, above and below it for a little bit. Looking for a possibility of a long for a continuation as we're breaking out of trend. But as you see here, I actually give back some right away. It does, however, follow through with that pullback. I think it's just dancing around the EMAs a little bit. And you just have to be patient with this stuff. Right now, we're just looking for price to react to those lows where the demand bar is that I have, demand zones, from the uptrend. But on the TPO, I'm looking at the lower end where those single prints are. We're going to start to put a little bar down there where those single prints are. The A session from earlier this week and the E in the middle of the week. I have a channel here where we're actually finishing up our uptrend, and we start to see some reaction up there. So now we're trying to see exactly how we can catch that short, but I give some back again as I get stopped out. So I'm going to adjust my channel, uptrend channel, and then I'm also going to draw a range where I see price has started to react. And as you can see, price does start to stay within that range for quite some time. At that point, I am just looking for price on all tick chart frames to kind of start to react to these demand zones that I've been drawing. From here, it really just looks like we have to have some patience, let it work itself out here, and eventually our setup will come. As I say that, price tries to move back up the uptrend and fails. I see that as an opportunity to short back into the range, and I take it for a nice trade back into the lower end of that range where I drag my stop down, and it takes me out for a good gain. You can see here I actually tried a couple bounce plays and I got chopped up, but it did follow through from that initial short. You just had to wait for all the chop to happen. We're now getting pretty close to those demand zones, and as soon as it gets down inside of that bluish bar, that demand area where the candles have reacted in the past, I am going to take a long here, and we're going to catch quite the nice long back up into the range above, where we move my stop. I do get stopped out. I sell a little too early. It does move pretty much all the way back up into that range, though. It's quite the move. Great trade there. So from here, we've formed a little bit of a range below. So now I'm actually going to draw a downtrending channel from our first move up of the day. We're making lower highs at this point, and I want to get that channel in place. So I'm going to do that really quick here. I'm going to start to draw a nice range below where prices started to react, closer to those demand zones underneath, and from there we can start to plan our next setup. I do try a short here, going back into that lower range, but I get stopped out as it kind of traps me up there. It does, however, follow through and moves right back into the range as I wanted my trade to work out, but I just got stopped out a little too early. That's okay. We move on. Shifting back, we are going to draw another channel here little range action that's down there where you can see the trades that I had that chopped me up. But we got to have that in place for perspective, and it definitely gives me a good point of reaction at the lower end of these price action ranges. Here I'm taking a couple scalps as we test above that range on the 5K tick, and just kind of scalping as they come. It pops back up, I'll take the short, and then we move back over to see exactly how that worked. And it was just a bunch of wicks where I was catching some shorts and taking profit. We're now at 11.05 on the day, and price moves right back down at the lower end of this range. This is really starting to be a critical range, so I am paying close attention to every time we get to the edge of each. I took a scalp there, as you saw, on the long side from the lows, and we took profits right away. But here we go again, trying to catch that demand area, sort of giving some back, but here's a good reaction, sort of just dancing around with this P&L at this point. A lot of these trades were just things you probably could have avoided and kept the P&L nice and clean with a lower trade count, but this is all good. We'll move on from here. So as price moved right back up, I did take that long for the continuation. It looks like I did get a little bit of a trade out of that. It was a good move, and this is probably where I could have left it for the day, but this is what happened afterwards. I do start to take another bit of unnecessary trades and start to give some of the profits back. Nonetheless, we're still pretty nicely up on the account. I wasn't trying to make it all the way to the extended profit target, which would have been 49.02, but we continue to try. I wouldn't say I'm quite on tilt yet, but I am giving gains back at this point. The market's just moving in and out of these ranges, and I don't think I'm quite paying attention well enough to realize that I probably should just let it work itself out here. So we take a long, we take a short, and I throw my stops up pretty generously higher, and it just runs right into them. So unfortunate loss with 2 lots on NQ, but nonetheless, we're still green on the day. And then my computer decides to run out of space. So at this point, I have to do a little bit of file management. We're going to move forward with how I got back online. I did make a few trades while things were offline. However, again, I did not let things just work themselves out as I continue to try to press on. One of the main things here is, as an extrovert, I'm looking for stimulation at this point. I'm just not paying attention to the fact that I'm green on the day, and I could probably just let this be. So as you see in these final trades, I basically give in and start to trade unnecessarily and give back a little bit of the gains, probably about 300 or so. But we end the day nicely at 1068. And we're going to move on to the final day in this account, as we are only $486 away from the extended profit target. I want to remind everybody that links will be in the description for each of these prop firms that I've been trading. Currently only showing you Top Step, but we have more video series out, as a reminder, for Apex Trader and Take Profit Trader coming soon. I look forward to the final day and sharing the progress that we made on this account and what's to come at the end of day 6. Stay tuned. This is Bullishbear, 23 Capital Trades. Peace out.